Hi there, it's Kathy Hamrick again with Country Road Stampers, giving you a quick technique. This is not new, this is an old technique called wax paper resist. I used it on this card to get this background look, as well as this card. I really like this look. I don't think to use it often, but I really do like it. And the stamp set I used is one with Celebration right now. It's the freebie of What I Love, and I never like all this fussy stuff to add all those extra stamps, so this was a good way to use this without having to do all that extra layering and just use one of the stamped images, so it was much easier. So let me show you how quick this is to do. You're going to need some wax paper. I would really recommend that you get good quality wax paper. I've used dollar store wax paper and it is not as good. It just doesn't have as much wax on it, so it won't do as well as what you would like with the higher grade wax paper. But it still works, and that's what I'm going to show you today. You're going to take a regular piece of wax paper and you're just going to crumble it up, and then you're going to flatten it out, and you're going to put it between two pieces of cardstock. One piece is going to get good and waxy, and the other one's going to be so-so, but it will get you 2 cards worth to work with if you do that way. So now that you've got that wax paper sandwiched between the 2 pieces of cardstock, you just put it between another piece of paper. I'm using some of my grid paper, but you could use typing paper, whatever you had handy. Then you're going to take a hot iron. It's kind of funny because I never use this iron to iron clothes, but I use it for my crafts. And then you're just going to heat this up. And don't worry, I have stuff under here, so if it looks like it's getting really hot, it is. But just hold that over there until you think you've probably heated that up. I don't really have a time limit on that. All depends on how hot your iron is. I can actually see where there's some pieces of wax that kind of melted around the outside edge, so I know that it was hot enough to melt. And that's just what you're trying to do, is get your design to melt. Then just take that out, throw away your wax paper. Then I'm going to take my sponge, and I couldn't remember what colors I actually used on the original card, but I'm going to use Island Indigo to do some of my sponging. And it looks like this one, I can see, I'm sure you can't see the little lines. It looks like this really took the wax pretty good. So I'm just going to take my sponge and go right onto the ink and just go right over this. And you can see that wax, just the design just shows up almost immediately. So I'm going to try to quickly do the front of this and get it all colored. And you're just going to sponge. You can even take the stamp pad and drag it across if you wanted to. I think it has a better look when you use the sponge. You could take a brayer and go across it. Still, I prefer taking the sponge. I just like the look that it gives better. Then once you're happy with it, I'm going to stop right there. You can leave it as is to be your background, or you can add something to it. So I just took the one flower, and I'm going to go with Night of Navy, and I'm just going to stamp that image. Now I'm not going to get my mat because I have so many pieces underneath here. But see how that just pops? And you could actually stamp off so you'd have lighter ones. So it just gives a really neat looking background. Very easy to do. Doesn't take a lot of time. You can do several of them. Well, like I said, when you're doing your wax paper, you could actually do 2 at the same time. So give that a try. That's Wax Paper Resist. As you can see, this is one right here that I use for the background, and the other one right here. Okay, that's all for today. Thanks for stopping by. Bye-bye.